how good is it? And then this gets into a whole other social thing, which is I live at 5th and Armstrong. I live in Strawberry Hill, downtown Kansas City, Kansas. I go to the Red Box at McDonald's because I can't stream Netflix because I don't have fast enough internet here in Kansas City, Kansas to do it. And there's a bunch of kids every day that when I go in that have their laptops up because there's free Wi-Fi at McDonald's. And then we wonder why we have the childhood obesity and the unhealthiest county in the state of Kansas. So I mean, there is this social connection, education connection, and the school district has been heavily involved. I think I can say this in the application process from the very beginning because they really realize how monumental it is. And I think it's not. I think it's more than just hey, we're going to get you done to the internet. It's programming, curriculum, business.
Have they talked about how this is going to affect them at all?
They have internally.
We've got ideas around that. I mean, we talked about distance learning a little bit. The idea that a class that didn't make sense for a couple people in a couple schools, that you're able to tie them all together and do that class on a regular basis, efficiently and economically, and all those ideas are things that are parent-teacher conferences that are going to be able to occur by home that the parents otherwise couldn't be able to get there. I mean, the impact on education, I think, is going to be the fact that these kids are going to learn and grow up with that access to that technology at the home and all the other things that brings and opportunities that's going to create for that. I mean, the potential in the education space is, in my mind, greater than the government space, which has got a long way to go. And so
if I was to categorize why I would like economic development to be number one, I think probably the greater impact is education. It's probably 1 and 1A is healthcare. Is there an app that is on kid learns early in school that can track their own health? And it's a combination between KU and CERN and school district. That's a pretty phenomenal idea. It has so many far-reaching implications we haven't thought about.
Do you know if the Kansas City, Kansas, or Kansas City, Missouri school, if they've had any high-level conversations about evolving the curriculum or the approach? Because it seems like there's across the country a layoff of teachers. The number of kids in a particular classroom have one teacher responsible for what's going on. Do you know if there's been any conversation in school districts about using this technology to try to come up with new ways to teach a 35, 40 classroom set?
I know the Kansas City, Missouri School District is working on these kind of programs. I know it's specific. We'll put you in contact with Dr. Allen's staff.
What do you want the greatest outcome to be for the Missouri side?
Parking problems.
Is it Greg?
Yes.
Okay, Greg. Since you work on the investment side, I'm sure you've got contact with people wanting to know more about Kansas City. What kind of things, I mean, you say, obviously we've got Google coming. What is it that Kansas City may not provide to these tech companies that it needs to provide to really bring them in? I'm wondering if there's any gaps that we need to fill to get the city ready for tech investments.
That is a good question. Why we're seeing interest in folks, I've had calls from folks from Minneapolis, Chicago, Dallas, Denver, looking to talk about relocating some or a portion of their business to Kansas City because they're a real data-driven company, real hungry use, and so that's very important. Bioinformatics, things like that, really important piece of that. There's two things I think that we struggle with. There's things that we do really well. Cost of living is great here. Startup dollars go much farther than they do on the coast. Those are all things that we're hearing from investors, particularly coast investors, that are excited about what they're seeing going on here. Deals, more realistic terms from an investor's perspective. Some of their concerns are, one I think is a real issue, one of them I think is not an issue, and that is there enough technology talent in the Kansas City region to support and to grow your business? And they get that question all the time, is if we start a company here and they may get some funding from somebody, they say, look, you're going to have a hard time growing this thing and adding 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 people down the road. You need to bring this out to the valley. And so if we, that's a perception issue that I think we're addressing and we're dealing with, and we're seeing, especially around some particular verticals, that's not as big of an issue as these people thought initially. There are a lot of talented people in the technology industry that are here. I think one of the biggest issues we have is that just that startup capital, we don't have aggressive angel investors that'll provide that kind of seed capital, really risky capital at the very beginning to help grow an idea more than just somebody writing it down or mocking it up, but to actually develop that app and then try to see if they can take it and move it along to the next level a little bit. And so filling that, and that's often a case where you'll get somebody who will pull that company out and then say, look, well, I'll give you the money to finance it, but you're coming out here. And again, that's another situation where we lose that company. And so if we can provide some of that seed capital and that ability to let them develop that right at the very beginning and grow that here, the chances are that we're going to be able to keep them here, and they're going to continue to develop a better ecosystem, and we'll get back to other technology entrepreneurs and create one. I mean, that is how we're going to be able to continue to grow. And so startup capital is one of the biggest things I think I see that we're going to overcome, that we need to overcome.